Title 49 CFR Part 268 Subpart B Procedure Financial Assistance. 268-9 Eligible participant in any state where the authority designated with one or more states to carry out the pre-construction planning activity of the Maglev deployment program and is eligible to participate in the Maglev deployment program. 268-11 Project Eligibility Standards. Project Eligibility Standard for the pre-construction planning of the financing 1 is required by the Title 23 U.S. Standard Code 32284 in order to be eligible to receive the financial assistance of the Maglev project. Shall involve segments for the high-speed ground transportation corridor exhibit in partnership with the potential requiring an amount with the federal and fundable with the project financial that will not exceed the sum of the federal Maglev with the funds amount made available to the state for the STP and QMAQ. Resolve of the operation of the transportation facility provide with the revenue producing services for the be undertaken with the public and private partnership with the release for the full, 1/3 of the full project cost being used with the non-federal funds. 5. Certify applicable statewide metropolitan planning requirements be approved by the FRA based on the application submitted with the state and authority designated with one or more states. 7. To the extent of the non-United States with the Maglev technology used within the United States to be carried out with the technology transfer and project. 8. With it be carried out with the other use of the materials at least 70% with the use of the manufacturer in the United States. 2. The FRA recognizes the applicant pre-construction planning with the grants will not have in detail but the information with respect to some of the requirements of paragraph A1 of the section for the purpose of the construction planning grant with the development much of the information with respect to the particular with the Maglev project will require for the statute 268-15 the applicant will need to provide with whether the information in which with respect to each of the requirement paragraph A1 of the section together with a certification of the applicant fully intends to comply with the requirements of the paragraph that should project with the select of the FRA final design, engineering, construction, financing. B. The project eligibility standard for the final design, engineering, with the construction financing. The FRA will select the most of the financing of the Maglev project with the financial final design, engineering, construction, financing to be eligible for consideration project must meet with each of the following requirements. These requirements restate with the requirements in the paragraph A1 of the section, but with more detail with a different order. Purpose and significance of the project. 1. With the project description shall be the deployment of the Maglev facility daily operation for the primary purpose of which for the conduct of the revenue producing the passenger transportation service between distinct points rather than serve the soul of the partner passengers riding pleasure. 2. The project description shall incorporate the schedule operating with a tablet to speed with not less than 240 miles per hour. Benefit of the American economy. The brief project description shall include the certification program paragraph B21 with the 2 of the section should appropriate with a technology acquisition transfer plan with the describe the strategy with the accomplishment process established with enable the American owned and cited firm or firms to gain the course of the project with the capability to participate with the design, manufacture, and installation facility of the vehicles needed for the Maglev operation or with the selected version of the Maglev technology is not only the American owned or site firm. These meetings of technology transfer the requirements of Title 23 U.S. Standard Code 322. The 70% of the U.S. content requirements content with the 23 U.S. Standard Code 322 will be required partnership with the potential with the project with the showing this exhibit the partnership potential with the status found in the following. Private-public partnership must be in place with the ready, with willing, to able to finance and construct and operate with the maintained project. 2. The private-public partnership that own the version of the Maglev technology proposed to implemented with the project with agreement with the owner with the full cooperative of the partnership with the progression with the project, including implementation, technology, acquisition, transfer, the applicable. 3. The receipt of the pre-construction planning with the grant with the FRA with the developed and endorsed with the projection system with the capital cost of the demand with the revenues operating with expenses, total cost of the benefits. They cover either the entire corridor with the Maglev project with the involved with the Maglev corridor with the project considered independently. Demonstrate the private inter-private would be enabled to run with the corridor with the project one with the bill and be paid for with the complete with self-sustaining entity with which with the revenues cover the operating expenses of continuing the investment needed and show the total benefits equal to or exceeding the total cost. Funding limits and sources of the project description shall include the financing planning with the demonstrated project completion for the design $150 million within the federal Maglev with the funding with the remaining obligated with the $55 million in the contracting authority with the funds made available to the STP and CMAQ with the project is selected with the eligible to have the form of the financial assistance provided with the Title 23 and T21 and including loans, loan guarantees, the line for credit, and however the least of 1/3 of the full project cost must come in from the non-federal funds. Project management of the state and the technology owner and all of the relevant project partners must include in the project description agree with the plan of the management plan with the define of the partnership responsibility with the accomplishment of the project. 2. The project schedule that should be intimate time limit implementation of the project will accomplish including to the extent possible the construction plan and schedule. 3. The financial plan that shows how the funds will flow in accordance with the other requirements of subsection 6. 6. Planning environmental process assessment of the environmental consequence of the proposed project. Recipient for the construction planning with a grant with the showing conduct for the environmental assessment support with the project description with the where they prepare the additional environmental study. The project the environmental assessment shall include the information support with the grantors of the decision to pursue with the proposed project with the grantor of the shall develop information discussed with the environmental the consequence of the proposed technology with the route and the sufficient detail preparation appropriate documentation FRA to support the selection of the one project that shall be included with the identification of the potential positive and negative of the environment effects the result of the technology energy consumption compared with the other transportation options generic noise emissions at various distances from the center line with the guideway change of the electromagnetic field at various distance for the center line with the guideway of the environmental screening of the proposed route with the identification of the land identification of endangered species the possible present location of the critical habitat identification of the navigable waters wetlands and other sensitive water resource identification of the local location of the parks wildlife refuges historic archaeological site for the national site local significance and other sites that's protected with the F4F of the Department of Transportation Act. The later information analysis shall be submitted with the 4 months in advance of the remainder of the project description above the list is illustrated only with the guarantees expected with the review proposed with the work statement of the FRA pre-application meeting of the through the some other means to develop the final scope of the environmental review. Project description must also include the letters endorsement project implementation for all the state departments of the transportation involved must involved from all metropolitan planning organization metropolitan areas that would be observed project. 268.13 deadline of submission of the application of the pre-construction planning assistance completed with the application project packages shall be returned with the FRA with the December 30th, 1998. Application shall be submitted with the Administrative Federal Railroad Administration and maglev the project of the RDV 11-1200 New Jersey Avenue Southeast Stop 20 Washington D.C. 20590. Alright, your 268.15 form of the contents application for the pre-construction planning assistance. State and groups of state have designed authority to have the maglev projects that are invited with the subject application for the phase 1 maglev deployment program. The completion of the pre-construction planning with the grants for the applicant shall contain A1 submitted with the state and the name of the address of the responsible telephone fax number the email address of the state agency submitted with the application and submitted with the designated the authority name and address responsible party with the telephone fax number the email address of the designated authority with the state agency the agency with which they have the whose behalf of the designated authority submitted with the application to either together with the letters of the state and evidence for the such designation. Description of the project concept and identify the likely location of the market level, market area length, and the transportation services that it would perform with the preliminary estimate of the time that would be required for the fund for made available to bring with the project for the start of the construction, then into the initiation full revenue services as in its opinion the applicant may include any of the reports filed by the complete with the project as well with the additional descriptive material that would assist the FRA in evaluating application. See whatever information the applicant has determined that the project meets for the project eligibility standard for the 269.11a of the project for the selection criteria the 268.17 together with the certification that the application fully extends the comply with the requirements of 269.11 with the commission project of the select with the FRA full annual design, the engineering, construction, and financing. D. A statement of the work of the reconstruction planning activities accomplished under the planning with this grant. The statement shall describe the work of the pre-performed individual, not necessarily limited. 1. The pre-construction planning work of the need for the development of the production project description that will satisfy the project eligibility standard of the 268.11b with the project selection criteria with the 268.617 through the preparation of the environmental assessment that described in 268.11b61 the management plan schedule the financial plan for accomplishing pre-construction planning of the working under the planning plans grant. After the letters supporting the application for the head of the all-state department of the transportation involved with as well with the responsible official with the metropolitan organization metropolitan area to be served with the proposed project. A certification by the state from the authorities designated with one or more of the then 1/3 of the matching may require with the work of the planning grants, but it will be available to the grant area, but the way will be available at the time of the grants are now with the source of the matching, but must be shown in this financial plan under the paragraph E and IH. If applicant has made with the defective definition choice of the particular maglev technology proposed included a description of the technology and degree of which would be produced for the test and submitted for the further application identified the organization that would form the team that would implement the project and the name of the organization person representing the show be also submitted. A 268.17 project selection criteria. Except for the qualified in statute 268.19 with the following criteria will be given the FRA selection project with receiving the funding with under the maglev deployment program. Purpose and significance of the product during which for the project description demonstrate the attracting with the travelers mentioned in passenger and passenger miles. The extent with which the implementation of the project will reduce the congestion attendant with the delay costs. Other modes of transportation will reduce the emission with any other energy consumption will reduce the rate of the growth need for the residential highway airport construction. Measures for the criteria, this criterion included but not limited with the present value of the congestion reduction, pollution reduction, and or facility cost evidence avoidance benefits. The degree to which the project can demonstrate the variety of the operating conditions which are to expected by the United States. The degree to which the project can augment with maglev coordinate or the network that has been identified any of the same group of the state for the FRAS of having the potential partnership potential with timely implementation, the speed of which the project realistically brought within the full revenue surplus based upon the project description on the current level on current projected development and statute with the maglev technology selected for the applicant project. The benefit of the American economy, the extent to which the project is expected to create new jobs in traditional emerging industry within the United States. D, the partnership potential, the degree to which the project description demonstrate the partnership potential for the order of which involved and or project independently. E. Funding limiting sources for the extent of the proportion with which the states and regional localities commit with the financial contribution to the project, both in terms of their own locally raised entirely non-federal funds, in terms of the commitment of the scale of the federal resource of the non-Med-Lev funds, and the extent of the proportion which the private sector for the contributes financial to that project. Note, in Statute 268.17, the FRA recognizes the applicant with the pre-construction planning assistant with the may not have the detailed information respective to each of these criteria that the purpose of the pre-construction planning assistant to develop much of the information respective to the particular maglev project, the pre-construction planning application requirements of the Part 268 with the designed applicant, whatever the information of the application may have the pursuant pertaining to these criteria. 268.19 evaluation application for the pre-construction planning assistance. So the FRA will evaluate the application for the completeness of the response of the requirements listed in 268.15. In addition, with the application advised of the maglev deployment, the program containing the number of the project eligibility standard for the minimum threshold of the standards for the project evaluation criteria of the project with a guide with the FRA review of the project description, the providers of the planning of the grants, and the FRA implementation of the standards criteria as appearing in statute 268.11 and 268.17 respectively, although subject to revision information 268.11 and 268.17 should assist the states in completion of their application for the completion of the planning grants and the for the project description will need the respondent containing the criteria of the evaluating application for the planning grantings. The FRA will consider how it is consistent with the application project containing for the criteria of the application likelihood of leading to a project that meets the standards of the criteria. 268.21 down selection of one or more of the maglev project for the further study of the financial study of the selection of one project with the final design, engineering, construction funding. Upon completion of Phase 3, the maglev deployment program, the FRA to down select one or more of the project completely additional environmental study with investment grade revenue, the forecast of the other studies and analysis necessary prior to initiation of construction. The final design engineering will work and is also initiated by the down selected project. The down selected project may appear with meet the project eligibility standards contained within statute 268.11b with the rate highly and projection site selection criteria specified in 268.17 be judged by FRA to have the good chance of being constructed with the federal funds authorized by the program and successfully operated with a public-private partnership. B. Only one project will be selected with the Phase 4 with the maglev development program eligibility federal construction fund with the Congress chief to make available the one project must meet each for every project eligibility standard contained with the 268.11b with more than one project down selecting in Phase 3 funded through the Phase 4 meets all these for the standards. The FRA will evaluate and compare the eligibility project according with the set project selection criteria contained in 268.17. Reviewing competing projects under the project eligibility standards of project selection with the criteria the FRA will exercise with particular vigilance regarding the following elements of the pre-construction planning process, although not inclusion of the other. 1. The credibility of the other demand, revenue forecast, cost estimates, benefit of the cost comparisons, the credibility of the financial plan and effort, and D. The federal financial to make the periodic review of the process product for the grant recipient. Such reviews may include a various option review of the key milestones in preparation of project description. And that is Part 268, and then we'll come back and read Part 269.